So Matthew, introduce yourself if you don't mind. I know Tashin pretty well. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, what your experience in sales might be, or your business.
My business right now, I started a real estate investment business in September of last year. And so working on targeting multifamily properties, looking in Tennessee. I'm also trying to do micro flipping locally in my area of East Bay, California. I have a couple things in sight for that. Um, I've been running a landscaping business, but I'm transitioning out of that so I can put more energy into these other focuses.
Hmm.
And I'm also trying to build right now like a coaching practice for just kind of helping people break through their limitations, the things that have been holding them back, positively reframing their life situation and finding the core issues, emotional traumas, that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Very cool. Matt, you are an entrepreneur and you've gotten
Yeah.
the entrepreneur seizure. So you well, one, let me say I like you already. So
Oh, thanks. Awesome.
and I will also say that you probably have had suffering with getting any of these things done over the last year and a half because you're doing four different things instead of one hyper focused thing. And so you're probably on some level seeing this four-pronged approach, be like, why isn't it fucking working? Like, I'm doing the same things these guys are doing. Why am I not seeing the results? And that's a conversation for another day. But I will just say, if you slam your landscaping business right now in this market, you will do better than micro flipping. You'll do better than multifamily, and you'll do significantly better than coaching. But if you're really smart, what you'll do is coaching around landscaping, and you'll explode your landscaping business. Now, I know the reason you don't want to do it and you want to exit out of it is because hiring people and finding people is a pain in the ass. But marketing it is not so hard, is it?
Mm, you're right.
So what you're finding is that your ability to get to the next level is limited by your inability to manage people, not by the business you're in. But you keep solving the problem with the business, when in reality, it's not the business. It's actually the fact that you're not a great manager. Either that or you don't love managing. There's something about people that are so much work to you that is going to keep your income under a quarter million until you decide that it's time to go and let other people into my company, train them, educate them, and then trust them because that comes from within. Then trust them to run your company for you so you can get back to what you really are supposed to be doing, which is educating people on why landscaping is so important and the right
Mm.
way to do it.
That's awesome that you said that. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that because that is what it was. Is it's too hard for me to find people that do the quality of work that my clients are used to, and I end up having to do everything myself or just constantly going and redoing work, and it's just yeah, that part's a headache. And so trying to train people to kind of work for me in my real estate business, I realized, wow, I have to teach them all these fundamental concepts, and I'm going to be doing this over and over and over. So it's just, I want to create a system that I can use to just educate people kind of, more than one at a time, or say, here's a training content that I want you to go through, and then we can start talking, that kind of thing.
Yep. So if you're going to really build a system that would really make sense, um, since we're going to talk about sales, this is very imperative to this conversation. It would make more sense to build a system around the right way to landscape, the right way to take care of a yard, the right way to really play it to the next level, and put all your people through that training. But not only that, sell that training and let your new employees come to you.
I love that. I never would have thought of that.
I know it's crazy because it's outside the box, right?
Yeah, the right way to do landscaping. It's just kind of like, well, most people don't do that, but yeah, just to teach people to do that. That's yeah, new idea.
Mhm. And you do it in California, you do it in your market. The right way to do landscaping in this market, in this city, you could go down to zip code and you would win because the SEO would actually work for you on YouTube and on TikTok and on Instagram and on Facebook because it's based on city. People search by city these days. They don't just search by, landscaping, how to cut the grass. How to cut the grass in your city, and they'll be like, whoa, like they'll jump to that over anything else. So just a thought. And then
Thanks for that.
Tashin, absolutely, Matt. And then Tashin, remind me what you're working on, brother. What are you selling?
So right now I'm working on building the affordable home buyers program within my city to get into real estate. and putting the insurance on the back burner, because I feel like instead of spending all that money on lead generation, if I'm closing real estate deals and writing my own asset protection, then it grows both businesses at the same time. So I'm recruiting people to sell insurance for me and letting, them do the selling of insurance while I'm focusing on my real estate business. Um, I'm actually working on trying to close a deal right now in my market that we would be buying directly from the bank. So a little bit of a different process than what I'm used to.
Let me ask you, Tashi, and be honest with me. Be honest with us. There's just five of us in here. We're all guys anyway. So it's been a little while since you had a paycheck, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, based on every word you just said, I can tell. So it's trying to do this, trying to do this, trying to do this. It's not what I'm used to, getting into a new thing, getting into a new space. There's a lot of language around it might happen eventually one day for me. And then you said wholesaling, and then you said insurance. These are two components that and closing on a deal, none of that is easy right now in this market. None of that makes any sense as far as like easy money. And like, I'm all about the guys who say, you got to work hard. That's actually bullshit. If you want to be successful, you've got to work hard, as in pick up the phone and say yes to the next client, or in Matt's situation, pick up the phone and say yes to the next hire, but not have a very hard job, right? You don't want to have a very difficult, like in a market where something is hard to do, that would be stupid to keep doing it, right? We're in a seller's market and you're trying to force sellers to sell, stupid, right? Go make money selling the picks and shovels, right? You're in a seller's market, be a buyer, right? Work with buyers. You're in a seller's market, work with the guys who are making money from everybody transacting real estate, right? Landscapers, fucking love it. All right, carpenters love it. HVAC guys, roofers, doorknob, like anybody, you could install doorknobs for a living. You make more money than you're making right now. You could paint for a living. You make more money than you're making right now. I am telling you this because I say this over and over, that if you're not making money, it's because you're trying to do something that's really smart, complicated, and not needed. The market has so much demand right now. There's so much money in the marketplace. Just go do something that people your age don't want to do. Real work. Like just go and, like, I swear to God, like just go out and do something that will get your hands fucking dirty, and you will make money, and then hire somebody for half of what you're charging and let them get their hands dirty. And again, you'll run into the same problem Matt's running into, finding people. Doesn't matter what business you get into, you're gonna have a hard time finding people. Elon Musk, what does he do for a living? He finds people to work for his company. All his videos are not about selling Tesla. They're not about SpaceX. His videos are about I'm looking for this type of person to come work in my company. That's why he does PR. That's why he does what he does, to attract employees. So one, go learn it, do it, and then two, start hiring it. But Tashi and I would just get into a dirty job like ASAP. What market are you in?
I'm in Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, New York, pick it. Anything, bro. You could like do apartment removal of garbage and you'd fucking explode out there. Like junk removal. You don't need any brains. Your guys don't need any brains. It's just neck down labor, but people are afraid to do neck down labor. And there's an apartment clean out. You're talking $2,500, $3,000, right? And what does it cost you? $500 for the day. $200 for each one of your guys. To rent the truck for $100, and then the service charge of dumping the garbage, if that's what you're doing, you just put that on the client anyway. Whatever it costs to go dump the stuff, whatever the weight is. All right, and that's one business. Here's my point. Don't get distracted by all the shiny objects. Just go and do the stuff nobody else wants to do, but people are willing to pay for somebody to do. Neck down labor is where the jam's at right now. And unfortunately, the robots aren't coming in to do it because AI doesn't have hands, right? And the stuff that we're doing in real estate is too complex and diverse that an AI can't figure out how to, well, that outlet's supposed to be there, but it's 12 inches over. How did that happen? It doesn't know how to do that stuff yet. So get the money, squeeze the money out of the system as quickly as you can, sell the business to somebody else because once you've automated this business, like once you've got it where there's a manager in place doing the things that once Matt has a manager in place, then I would buy the business because it's a cash flow business. So it makes a lot of money. Does that make sense, Tashin? Like just get away from the stuff that's hard. Go to the low hanging fruit, collect the fruit.
Definitely makes sense. Definitely makes sense.
Awesome. And then Brian, you just quit your insurance company, so tell me what you're selling, brother. Then we're gonna dive into sales. I promise.
Well, first of all, my apologies for being late. I just wrapped up umpiring a Little League game, first game of the season. What I've been selling, I've actually been working with Tanisha, on the short-term rental that we've been working on. We actually got our first one that's going up and going to get listed this weekend.
Excellent.
So, yeah, and what I've been learning with her is selling that very product, selling how to set it up or teaching people how to set it up.
So you're in a coaching business. How much money have you made in the coaching business on the teaching side?
Well, I haven't started the coaching yet.
Okay.
So
that's not the product. I'm just trying to find the product. So it is not the rental because you don't have an infinite amount of those. So your inventory is got to be what you're selling right now. Selling the idea.
Yeah, so inventory right now is 0. And then I'm also working on reestablishing my own insurance agency and getting that up. So that's going to take about 2 to 3 weeks.
What is it? Say it again.
I'm working on resetting my own insurance agency, getting my own brokerage set up.
Got it.
So in California, that takes about 2 to 3 weeks.
Excellent. So you're going to focus on bringing in business for your insurance agency.
Ancillary business. Ancillary. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm still formatting the product and the service right now. So I don't necessarily have the inventory just yet.
Because I love you, I'm going to just tell you that's terrifying. That scares the shit out of me because you've got nothing to sell. Every day that goes by, you're still eating, you're still consuming, you're still drinking, you're still
right.
This thing still costs money, right? Roof over your head.
Yep.
Right. Place to lay your head at night. So can we just pick a product today? Can we just pick one now that is already produced and just sell that, and then later on you can add more?
Name it.
Well, I mean,
you
gotta believe in it. You gotta believe in it. You're the one selling it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I actually did get contract appointment set up through one of the life insurance companies, so I can sell life insurance right now as well as annuities. So that product I can sell.
Excellent.
And really, I mean, the reality is, 4 or 5 life insurance products sold a month is easily a $60K to $100K a year income.
Excellent.
So right now it's planting the seeds and replanting the seeds, especially because I lost my entire book of business when I left. And even though I was promised that it would be given to me, that promise got taken off the table.
Usually is, especially in a recession. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it happened within 2 days and caught me off guard. So.
Yep. Yeah. So we don't have time to build a product. We're actually saying the same exact thing, Brian. I love that. We don't got time to wait. We don't got to really now more than ever, because you lost your income, is hustle time to go sell, and time to grind, and time to push. So
yes, indeed.
Awesome. Excellent. So I'm glad we were able to clear up. So step 1 to sales, and take notes if you have the ability. Step 1 is know your product. One product, have one, not 2. You can't go out with 2 products. If you go out with 2 products, you confuse the customer. So step 1 to being a great salesperson is identify your product. You must know what it is. You must use the product yourself. If you don't use your product, you're a loser, because you're not selling something you believe in. Does that make sense? It's gonna be really hard. Like if you're trying to go out there and sell something that you don't own yourself, that you haven't paid for yourself, that you haven't invested money, you don't have a story to go off of, and emotionally, you're selling something that you don't believe in. So it's really important that you be a consumer of your product. Number 2, you must love it. You must love and believe with full-heartedness that there is a monstrous demand for your product in this world. The easiest way to believe it, I'm not talking fairy tale shit. What I'm saying is go out there and actually find a demand in the marketplace. Go out and find people who are saying, I need this. Find proof of concept, which is proof of the need, proof of the demand in the marketplace. So number 2, you must believe that there is a monstrous demand out there. And again, do not just, magical thinking believe this. Go and do the math. Go do a market analysis. Go ask people. And a very good way to identify demand in a marketplace is to go sell your product before you build or create it, which is one of the wealth principles on the 52 Weeks to Wealth, which states build your product before you sell or create it. So find or identify demand in the marketplace. I'm all in love with it. Number 3, diagnostic selling. Learn the process of being a diagnostic salesperson versus a salesperson. When we talk about selling, we're not actually talking about being able to convince somebody to do a thing. We're talking about finding the right person to buy the thing. It's a combination of marketing and sales. If you're in front of the right client, then but they aren't buying from you, it is because you haven't shown them. They don't understand that you have the product. There's some sort of failure in communication on your side with their demand, their need, or their desire. It may be a dormant need, it may be a dormant desire, or the way you're explaining the product or the solution is not connecting the dots with the result that they're seeking. Hands to the camera if that is a possibility. You can have the great product, but not be hitting emotionally what is going to trigger a response. Responses in sales are not logical typically. 10% of the sale will be logical, 90% will be emotional. So if you can't hit something that is emotional for them, then you're not going to end up with the sale in most situations. Why does somebody end up with a landscaper? I'm going to play with that because we got a landscaper in here. Why does somebody end up with a landscaper? Well, the wife wants the landscaping looking good. Typically, it's the woman who wants the house to look great because all her friends have to see it. But the man's responsibility is to do it, is to go out there and do it in society. The man now is making more money doing what he does for a living that it no longer makes sense for him to be out there landscaping. Scenario number 1. Scenario number 2, it's a company that you're landscaping for. They own, for some reason, they decided to own a business that requires trees and grass all around their parking lot and their building. And they don't, they're a tech company, right? They sell technology. They're not going to go out there and cut the grass their damn selves. So they need somebody who can do this consistently and remember to do it. So they're willing to put you on a residual salary. Property management, same exact reason. They have a reason to keep that grass looking good. There's a property owner who they're employed to collect rents and make the property look like a beautiful property. They've got a demand. They've got a reason to need that grass cut consistently. Otherwise, the tenants are going to call the property owner. The property owner is going to call the landscaper, or the property owner is going to call the tenant is going to call the property manager. Tenant's going to call the landlord. Landlord's going to call the property manager. Property manager is going to be in trouble, lose the job, or lose their gig. So they get a landscaper in place to make sure this stuff doesn't happen. Hence, if you understand the supply and demand factors, the emotional factors here, there's usually somebody else who wants it taken care of. And if that pain doesn't get taken care of, then they have the pain now on them. People typically do not do things for themselves. Emotional responses typically don't come from somebody on their own unless it is a life and death scenario, in which case you will very quickly get a person to feel emotional solely by themselves. And it's care if you can grasp this, right? Otherwise, most emotional triggers are dealing with external people, external forces. So when you're selling, it's really important to keep in mind that you need to hit the emotions, which is why we talk about the four components to DISC. The first is, does this provide a return on investment? Does this provide a status boost for you and your family? Does this provide a assurance of security? Well, not assurance of security, but assurance of stability, assurance of prominence within your neighborhood, or prominence within your life, or within your company, or within your society. The second would be, does this create fun or adventure, or provide influence for you? Will, in the landscaping business, do your neighbors now notice that you're doing something different? Does this allow you to have parties at your house now that your backyard doesn't look like a jungle? It looks like a place that people can hang out. Number 3, stability. Does this provide a safer place for the family? Does it provide a safer scenario or life situation for the family so that they can be more stable? And the fourth one, does this in some way give them the ability to learn more? Is there a true value to preventative measures, right? Is there some sort of pain that this could prevent from ever happening? This is the cautious component of, if you don't do this now, XXX could happen in the future. So this maintenance that we're doing right now, or this preventative measure, will make sure that you get to keep your life at the status quo. This group of people prefer status quo staying in place. They do not do well with confrontation. So in a sales conversation, you must identify what is most important to this person. Is it stability? Is it being safe? Is it adventure, fun, influence, or is it power or return on investment? Too many people go into, especially new entrepreneurs, they get afraid about selling the product because it's expensive. That has nothing to do with anything in most situations. Only about 15% of the population will be concerned about price. The other 75, 85% of the population is more concerned around, is it fun? Is it enjoyable? Is it creating adventure? Is it good for my family? Is it stable? Is this going to make me safer? Hands to the camera if that makes sense. Because if price was always the object, we'd spend all our time shopping shit. And we clearly, as a civilization, do not do that. We look at the first, maybe the second thing, right? And if we don't really want to spend money on this thing, we'll go and look at this, the third, maybe. And Scam, you've done this as well. Like you'll go like, okay, Amazon, like what's the best one everybody else buys? Well, I don't know if I really need it or if I'm going to like it. I'll go and look at maybe the cheapest thing on this. So important to recognize that price is usually not the concern. The more experienced a buyer is, the more less likely they are to actually be concerned about price. And also the more aware they are of the value of a thing. So if you're getting to a situation, either your product is not valuable enough, or it is possible that they're not perceiving the value of your product, which means there may be a need for a little bit of an educational process. For example, we're on a group call for a community that is a six-figure mastermind, right? Six-figure club. So the premise here is, are you earning six figures right now? The answer is no. So would you like to earn six figures? If the answer is yes, we've got a strategy to get you to six figures. Let me ask you, what pain exists in your life if you do not figure out six figures? Matt lives in fucking California. That means he's broke as shit. If he's earning less than 100,000, the dude's poor as fuck. He's like living like practically your step away, Matt. Tell me if I'm telling the truth or not, from living under a fucking bridge, right? You're like right there. Because California's expensive as shit.
Yeah.
Right. Unless you're in the
Yeah.
Central Valley, in which case you're doing all right.
Yeah, no, this area, if I'm not making that, it's rough.
You got a wife or girlfriend?
I have a very soon to be fiance. She just
Very
doesn't
cool.
know that. Well, she probably knows it's coming, but yeah.
Very cool.
And
So,
we have 3 kids together, so
and I assume she's also working. 3 kids and she works?
she is, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were earning six figures, would that still be the case? Or maybe she would not do the job she's doing?
She would probably not be doing what she's doing.
Yeah, 100%.
She likes what she does, but yeah, no, she would be doing other things more, higher
She likes
priority.
what she does because she's a positive human being, right? She makes the best of life.
Yeah.
Let's be real. All right, cool. Awesome. So I'm picking on you because you gave me the most detail about what you do, and you're the most
That's great. I love it. Yeah.
So awesome. Thank you. Now, as we're going through this sales process, hitting the emotions can trigger responses that a normal man, since it's all men on here, would not like. We're not huge fans of conflict. Women are even worse. Women hate conflict. So they'll be very aware of the situation and avoid it. Whereas men may stumble into it, not even notice it, because sometimes we do live a life of conflict. So it's very important to get more into the feminine side when in sales by asking and caring, genuinely caring. You're not there to manipulate or persuade. You're there to identify, is there a demand or need for the product? And if the person does not, then your goal, your job is to get out of the house or out of the conversation or off the phone or off the text as quickly as possible. If you talk to them, speak to them, and you do not identify two things to make a buyer. I probably should have put this sooner, but definition of a buyer is one who buys. So the two things to identify if they're a buyer is, one, they have to have a burning desire for the product. The more their desire burns, the more desperate they will be to find you. So your marketing doesn't even have to be that great. Like a landscaper, your marketing doesn't have to be that great to get a bunch of business, because there's, in California and Florida and Texas and Arizona, all these states, always a demand for a landscaper, because this shit keeps growing. It rains, the stuff comes up out of the ground, and now we got a problem. Mother Nature has installed job security for the landscaper. The only way it would ever die is if human beings stopped existing. If we all moved to the desert, guess what? We would find a way to we grow grass. We would fucking grow grass our damn selves so that we could go cut it. This is what they do in Las Vegas. Right? They can't grow grass. We'll show you. Jobs are created no matter what because we love plants. We can't help ourselves. So one, there must be a burning desire to have the products, the service handled, solved, the problem like rendered, service rendered, problem solved. And then two, they must have access to capital. I'm very clear when I say access to capital, not money in their pockets, right? Because access to capital could refer to credit, it could refer to a partner, it could refer to somebody else's money, and it could refer to insurance or a grant, something that the government puts out. It could refer to many different forms of financing. Hands to the camera if you understand. I said access to capital, not necessarily capital in the bank. Awesome. If the problem's big enough, they will discover their forms of access. If a tornado comes through and rips your house apart, suddenly remember you have an insurance policy. Something you never think about, or even you might even gripe about it all year long. But suddenly your roof is gone. You're like, you know what I got? Fucking insurance. Let's go. And suddenly you've got access to capital that you previously didn't. So same with a credit card, right? It happens. Insurance, health insurance, all of these things are forms of access to capital. Government grants, again, similar. So make sure that the buyer has access to capital. And if you're going to pick an industry, you might as well pick an industry that has easy access to capital. One of the reasons I love real estate, and a lot of investors do, is it's leverageable. We can borrow debt, we can borrow dollars, and the government funds us, and by not charging us taxes, and the banks fund us. So it's a great investment class for somebody who has no money and is starting out with very little. But remember, it's an investment class. It's not a business. It is a class of investment. It can be turned into a business, but it's a business that requires strong negotiations. And in this market, a lot of marketing. Now, if you're a guy like Matt, guess what? You're cleaning up their fucking houses anyway and the landscaping. You're already building businesses with the homeowners. Every homeowner eventually dies. Fun fact. It's truth. Every homeowner eventually gets tired. In fact, every 7 years, they tend to rotate their real estate. It's called the 7-year itch. It happens in marriages. It happens in friendships. It happens in business. So keep an eye out for this. Every 7 years, somebody decides they're going to rotate their real estate out. Sometimes they do it sooner. Sometimes they do it a little bit later. So if you're going to build a business that's going to serve people, you might as well build a business that serves the inventory that you'd like to go and buy, the people who have the thing that you want. Everything you want is in the hands of other people. Hence, Cameron, if you've heard that before, it's Zig Ziglar. Everything you can get what you want by helping enough people get what they want. Everything you want is in the hands of other people. So if you want to buy a bunch of real estate, which should be a very long-term approach for you, then you might want to sell something to people who own real estate so you can build a relationship, because people only do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And how else are they going to know, like, and trust you unless they've been paying you for a little while? Let them get used to that so you can charge them for something else. Do not, here's another lesson in sales, because it's salespeople who end up falling into this trickery. Do not start the second flow of income. Do not start the second business until you've earned $1 million in the first business, until you've earned the right to add the second flow. Because first flow should be your marketing business, the business that gets you in touch with the client. That is hard to find. That should be the first business that you're doing. Tashin went ass backwards. He went to the final product, which is investing in real estate, which is really hard to do without a great source of leads coming through at all times. Does that make sense, Tashin? If people aren't coming to you being like, hey, I need to sell my house, then that's probably not the best product to start with, right? That's the last product. So you want to get into their house with a different thing first. And if you can start that business, you'll explode.
That makes sense.
Which, unfortunately, Tashin, there's a lot of tricksters out there who are not actually tricksters, they're just fucking idiots with cell phones, and they're building courses. And by the way, they're rich as fuck. But here's the deal. They make their money from business that they did initially, right? Like once you get the capital rolling, yeah, you can spend money on building teams. Like we can do that because we have a capital stack to roll. But if you don't have that capital stack rolling, you don't have the deal flow coming through, like Pace Morby's, like all these cats who are out there, like you should wholesale. Like, bro, like you wholesale because you've already built the wholesale machine. So for you, it makes sense to pull back on the high risk stuff of flipping and to shift over into the we just wholesale deals because you've built a wholesaling machine. It's like Elon Musk being like, you know what, I'm just going to do? I'm going to throw a Tesla truck onto the line because I've already built the Model S and the X and the Y. I'm going to go throw the 3 out there now because I've already built a machine factory that can produce these motherfuckers. Right? But if you don't have a factory that can produce leads, you got to go build that first. Hence, carefully understand sales is about producing leads. Excellent. So, which is why we started this conversation with demand and loving your product. Outside of that, there's thousands of different ways to negotiate, and I'll give you the modality instead of going into tricks. You have to have the frame of a servant. You have to have the frame of somebody who truly does want the next person to do well. And at the same time, you have to know your own fucking value. So if you're a 6-figure earner, you will earn 6 figures. It can't stop you. It's an unstoppable force within the human being that we are number addicts. We're addicted to a number. And the number isn't something that we're aware of. It's usually a lifestyle we're actually aware of. So Matt lives a certain way, and Tashin lives a certain way, and Thurman lives a certain way, and I live a certain way. And unless something alternates or alters my lifestyle, I will continue to earn the same amount of money. And what I've found is that real estate investing or building businesses as a hobby, these are now babies or children that need to be grown, they take money. And so that has forced me into becoming $1 million earner because I have to go and I have to acquire money to feed the machine that I've now started or created. So, Matt, I'm sure you've noticed having 3 kids and having a girlfriend, now fiance or soon to be fiance, has forced you to want to make more money. Hence, joining a group called the 6-Figure Club Mastermind Meeting. And Brian, I'm sure seeing Tanisha's success has also inspired you. And also, my guess is being in the Alchemist Nation has also forced you to start thinking a little bit bigger and being like, oh, you know what these guys are making, I can make. There's another external force, kind of like I mentioned earlier, for your clients, an external force creating an emotional response that's forcing you into taking the right actions. Tashin, my guess is you're hanging out with you're a young man. Are you with a girl right now? Do you have a girl that you're serious about?
Yeah, I have a fiance and 2 children of my own, and she has 2 children.
Motivational factors. So there's these factors out there that need and demand, and then you want to produce more for them, and so you start having to expand as a man. So your ability to increase your income is based on the demands of the people you've taken responsibility for. You look at somebody like Thurman. Thurman likes cars, but he also likes beautiful women. So he likes fast cars, fast women. This is not a cheap hobby. And so he started looking at like, okay, I can't do this 6-figure shit. I need to figure out how to become a millionaire, which is how he connected with me. Because I'm on a mission to build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires, right? So my message.
Absolutely. I will also say another factor too is just I've been hanging around successful people since probably around 18, 19.
Yep.
So it's kind of like they just kind of like push it on you in a sense.
Yeah, we sure do.
It's like a
No,
nudge. I wouldn't say like it's not persuasion, but just a hey, you need to be here. Come on.
Like, you're hanging with us, which means you're one of us.
And
One
your net
of
worth,
us.
your net worth is your net worth.
That's right.
And I know, like, when I got introduced to Alchemist Nation, my net worth skyrocketed the minute I came to Orlando.
See that? Thank you, brother. That is
I
our goal.
definitely, I can definitely agree. And I would say, with me having a physical disability and having some mobility issues, networking has always been like I had to be able to talk. I had to be able to have conversations because I wasn't the guy that was running down the fucking football field. So you could be like, damn, did you see that catch he just caught? Like that wasn't me. It was, what is the conversation he's gonna have? What is this, book he's gonna talk about, or this method that I've never heard of, or intriguing, people with conversation. And then I realized that okay, I'm in a city that has people that make money, but the average people don't make money. Like, the average citizen is broke, but then you have those people that are upper echelon that are making, 2, 3, 4, 6 million that all know each other, but they don't know any of the broke people. So I was like, how can I start going to these RIA meetings and these galas and these, where are the city planners? Where are the people that are 1099 that want to buy a house, but they got, high DTIs or not good credit, but they have the money to, be able to buy a house. How can I plug them into a realtor that I know and, get a referral fee and, realtors, brokers, things like that. So I just literally became like a network junkie. And, I joined Thurbin's group. I joined a couple other groups. I joined, some creative financing groups, like just having a thirst to be educated and making sure, like he was saying earlier, that I didn't fall down the rabbit hole of let me give you 10 grand and you 30 grand and you 60 grand and you 2 grand, because everybody's like, buy this course and then buy the course on top of the course on top of the course.
Yeah. So Tashin, let me tell you what I heard there. Don't ever become a coach because you don't buy coaching. Does that make sense?
I mean, I've spent money. Like I spent probably, like last year, I probably spent about 15,000 on different mentorship groups. So I'm willing to spend money as like a self-investment, but at the same time to make sure, because like you said, there's so many different people that are trying to, once you buy one, it's like the algorithm,
Well, what it is these guys are just one trick ponies. It doesn't mean it's right for you. Like that's all it is. Dave Ramsey, like his shit's great when you have no money. Like, yeah, you do need to get back to zero so we can work with you to get to 1 million. I'll tell you if you're in super debt, like I'm not the one. You got to go get to zero, please. I can work from zero, but under zero, you're gonna need some snowball, right? You're gonna need to go get Gazelle Intense. But very good, Tashin. So making progress, moving in the right direction, simplifying and having one product. Remember what I said? The first thing I said was you got to have one product, a single product, and a product that is proven and in high demand was number two. That is necessary for sales, right? So for you, my suggestion is please go sell something that people want today. Like that, there's a lot of people who want it. Big supply, big demand.
I got to throw in one plug for you, Walter, if I can.
I'll take it. I'm listening.
Okay, so I listened to what you just said about being below zero, and then having to get up to zero in order to get there.
Yeah,
I read your book. You were below zero.
Oh fuck yeah, I was.
Yeah, show the book.
Up to a quarter million.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the book that if you're going below zero, read this book.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Thank you, Brian. That is why I wrote the book, was so that people would stop asking me those questions. I was like, take the book, you're not ready yet.
I also want to say, if you get the Audible version, you get to listen to Gualter and you get an extra couple of chapters, which are really cool. And you get to hear his voice, it was fun. I got it.
Thank you. Yeah,
I got to read those extra chapters. I got the hard copy.
Oh, you got to get the audio, because I threw in a whole extra 18-minute chapter, and I riff a little bit on the book, because by the time I read the audio, I'd already had the book out for 2 years and I had a lot of feedback from people. So when I went and I did the audio version, I was like, well, here's something I've heard, so I'm throwing this in now. I got this question a lot because of this sentence, so throwing this in. There was a way for me to heal some sins. I do plan on revising the book this year, though. So
yeah, I definitely have to check that out. And that's kind of what I worked on over the last year, is getting myself out of debt. I'm no longer in debt. All of my bank accounts are not big as I want them to be, but they're all positive, and I've just seen all of my credit scores rise over 100 points in the last 30 days.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Let's give Tashin a round of applause. He's making progress. He's getting there. So Sales 101, the modality that I was talking about that you need to have is the servant, right? The servant leader, the person who knows what's best for them, but it is an expert, a consultant, like I say, the doctor going in and just being like, does this hurt? Does this hurt? Can you feel this? Take a deep breath. And just asking questions to identify the need or the demand, to identify what might be wrong, and to see if you have the prescription. And a lot of it isn't necessarily going to be something that you can do in the office. It may be something that you have to outsource to somebody else, send them to a specialist. Hence, care if that makes sense. We're getting that sometimes you can send them off site, right? And that's okay. Get a referral fee. There's still money to be made if you send somebody to somebody else. But that's
a really good point, Walter. Yeah, I've used that line a little bit. Before I actually left it and went on my own, I used that line a few times with clients, and I still use it as I'm talking to people now, just to plant seeds for the future. And the first thing I tell them when I think about who my avatar is and who I want to work with, and people ask me, "Oh, who do you want to work with?" I say, "Okay, well, they have to be willing to be my patient.
Yeah.
I have to be the doctor, and if they're coming to me, they have to show me and be open and willing to give me the truth about their symptoms. Otherwise, I cannot help them, and I cannot be effective. And if I know that they're not being truthful with me, they're not telling me everything, they're holding back, they're not opening up and trusting me, then I can't be their doctor, and I will refer them out to somebody else that is willing to pay me for the lead.
Yep.
And my time is moved on to the next person that is willing to let me be the doctor."
100%. 100%. And that's what you've seen when you bought into Mastery. I do the roadmap, I do the millionaire roadmap. And that idea is, what's wrong with you? What are your problems? What are your goals? The first thing I ask is your goal. Like, what is it you're looking for? Because without that, I can't identify your problems, right? Because your problems are relative to you, right? You and your business, your goals, your success is based on what you want to create. Success, the definition of success is the attainment of an ideal, attainment of a worthy cause, attainment of something that you want to accomplish. So success is not $1 million, it's not six figures, unless that is the worthy cause or the ideal. So actually, we could define it as success is the attainment of a worthy ideal, and that is going to be whatever you aim at. So first, identify the goal of your client, and then reverse engineer, how do we get them there? What is the best way to get there? Is it my product or is it not? And as you build your business, which again, I want to really hammer home, and even I say this for everybody on this call, but you'll hear me say it a lot more because I'm doing it in my own business as well. I have, especially since the recession hit, I've really looked at my business and said, which legs don't serve anymore, which legs don't make a lot of sense, and cut out a lot of, like, just undercut a lot of things in the business and just trimmed it down to what really serves us. And we're focusing heavily on our marketing funnel, the one that brings in the most clients, and then allowing the other businesses on the back end. We kind of automated those, just kind of either exited out of them entirely, gave up equity on them, or shifted over and just outsourced them to somebody else in the interim, so that we can focus 100% on the marketing side of the company, the sales and marketing, to acquire new clients. And my suggestion to each one of you is do that. Like, yes, there may be more money on real estate investing for sure. Every time we buy a big piece of property, there's a lot of money made on day fucking one. That's what we bought it for. But it does take a large amount of capital. And in order to get a large amount of capital, you got to have people who have capital, which means build a relationship with millionaires, right? Maybe build them if you have to, right? and so that was our strategy we started doing in 2018. We thought the market was crashing. We thought things were correcting back then. There was a little slowdown, and then COVID hit, and we were like, well, fuck, yeah, the world's definitely going to blow up now. Let's really go wide on this networking thing. And turned out real estate was actually really great for us the whole time. It turned out to be just glorious, like gloriously unfair, unfathomably explosive on how much we made, because we didn't sell out. We just stayed in and we just held. We have sold quite a bit, which is, really helped with our cash reserves and helped us dive into other businesses. But this strategy of go deep in your marketing, go deep in your relationships and your network has just been explosive for everything else that we do. It's allowed us to really expand our company. Like, if you had 10 clients, then in order to make $1 million, you got to charge 100,000 for them. But if you got 100 clients, right, to make $1 million, all you got to do is charge $1,000 from them. It's a very different, $10,000 from them. Sorry. If you have 1,000 clients, all you got to do is charge $1,000, right? You start being able to pull back how much you're charging based on how big your database is. Now, if you got a really great superior product, you could probably still sell 10 at 100,000. You probably still sell 100 at 10,000. You probably still sell 1,000 at 1,000. If you build that base deep enough, wide enough, there'll be that 10% of each one of those categories that's willing to pay at those prices. Does that make sense?
So, Gualter, let me ask you this, right?
Yep.
When we first connected, I was mainly focused on the insurance side of things. I started selling policies. I probably made a good like 3 to 5 grand in the first month of selling policies. Then I got what do we call it?
Shiny object syndrome, squirrel brain, fucking
Entrepreneur.
entrepreneurial seizure.
seizures.
Any one of these.
So, but because I've been, studying real estate even before I got into insurance, but I started making money in insurance. And I'm like, I really want to, get into this real estate, and kind of felt, not even kind of, like definitely fell 100% away from the insurance business, trying to build the real estate business. Should I be, in fact, focusing on and building the insurance business and allowing the like just basically passing all of the deals that are being sourced to me to other people to allow that to generate revenue while I'm still generating revenue from the insurance?
Let me ask you, Tashi, to answer that question. Why don't you buy a piece of real estate today?
Because I don't have
Deals.
Right now I personally don't have the capital. I have relationships with, certain people that are getting deals and getting them under contract. But
Who has the capital? Where is capital generally? I started the
uh,
conversation with it earlier. Capital is in the hands of other people, right?
mhm.
Capital you want is in the hands of other people. Here's how this works. It's only in their hands until it's in your hands. And it's only in your hands until you pass it along to the person whose house you're buying. So the capital moves pretty quick. It's velocity of money, right?
Mhm.
The idea is not that you need the capital. You really don't. But you do need to be able to find capital that's looking to move, looking to leave where it is at the moment. And the easiest way to do that is to talk to people. And the easiest way to talk to people in your situation is to get paid to talk to people, which means insurance. Because everybody who's buying an insurance policy also is a human being and also likely has access to capital. If they're buying an insurance policy, they got a family, which means they've been thinking about legacy, right? They've been thinking about making money. There's a good chance they're either upgrading their existing policy or they're starting for the first time thinking about the future of their children, which means that the man of the house has not produced enough income or enough savings to make sure that he feels confident in the future of his family, which means he's now starting to think about passive income structures, other ways to make money that don't involve him, which is why he's starting to look at insurance. There's a good chance that somebody who's buying insurance is also thinking, if I have $100,000, what could I do with that $100,000 in such a way that it comes back to me bigger or pays a residual for its investment, which is why that 100,000 has not gone into the stock market or not gone into crypto. Also, there's $36 trillion in America in retirement funds. So my guess is if somebody who is a family man who is buying an insurance policy likely has a retirement account, which they would love to have cash flowing because it just lost 40% of its value over the last 2 years. And now they're back at where they were 2 years ago. And they're probably thinking, fuck, I should probably get out of this stock market thing and put it into something that goes up and to the right and also pays cash flow, something like real estate. So a self-directed 401k would be a short conversation to have from somebody who's getting a policy. They're already showing so many of the signs that they would be a passive investor. Does that make sense?
Definitely makes sense. It's crazy you say that because one of my clients just contacted me about their mom, and she was saying that her mom lost 400,000 last year and has about 3 million in the stock market that she's looking to move out of the stock market. Now I'm an insurance agent that's only been there, 3 months. So now we're talking about $3 million, 3 months. Do I really have the knowledge to be able to?
Yes, I do. You might not, but I do, which means you got me, which means you have access to the knowledge. So the answer is yes, you do have the knowledge. Yes,
And that's why I say your net worth is your network.
exactly. Brian the connector.
Telling you.
I gotta ask this question while I have you, Gualter.
Yep.
So how would you, if you had to start from ground zero, how would you sell your way to $1 million? And what I mean by that is like, what would you be teaching yourself or learning as someone who knows like nothing, or what, or even with what you know now, what would you do differently to get there faster?
Am I in a place where I speak the same language? If they speak English, I got an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you still
Am I in a
speaking?
place? Do I get to choose what city I'm in?
Yeah.
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 Oh shit. Well, in which case, I would stay right here in Florida, and I would start a a painting, or I'd probably start a handyman company just to find the demand. I started a handyman company, which means I would show up at Home Depot at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I would stand outside and I would find out who needs work. And I just find out what projects people are doing, what projects people are doing. Hey, what would you pay to get that project done today? But from an experienced professional knows how to do it. If it's a roof, if it's I would just be taking inventory. I wouldn't be saying yes to jobs. I'd just be taking inventory and be like, what would you pay for? What would you pay for? What would you pay for? What do you think the value of that is? And I would take something that if I had no money, I would take something that day that is in my skill set, something that can be done quick, where the materials and tools are cheap, which would be painting. I paint something or I'd landscape something. And then from there, I would be again the next day. What I'm looking for is my inventory of skilled laborers. I'm looking for jobs, yes. I'm grabbing contacts from people, but I'm also looking for my skilled laborers, the little Mexicans that come in at 6 o'clock on the truck with the guy who owns the company, right? The guy who's he's driving all those Mexicans to the next job. I'm looking for that guy, and I'm looking for his crew. And I just want to find out what their specialties are and what they charge. Hey, what would you do for this job that I found yesterday? What would you do for this job? What would you do for this job? What would you do for this job? What would it cost? What would it cost? I mean, hey, what do you do this? Who does this? Who does this? And I start building my network around supplying the demand in the marketplace. Home Depot is a hub of demand. It's a hub of demand. Like people go there, realize they suck, and then they come back, or they're like, because you follow up with them. Hey, how'd that project go? I want to come check it. I want to come take a look at it. Do I have a vehicle? I have a vehicle, man. I'm unstoppable. If I got a cell phone, a vehicle, and English language, like you can't stop me. I'm building an Instagram where I'm going to other people's projects and I'm shooting video of look at this project, how this came out. This person did an awesome job. If you have an amazing project that you've worked on, shoot me a text. I'd love to come down and check it out and do a video of like you and how you did it. And I'm building the social media influence around I'm starting to find what the demand in the marketplace, what pays the most, what the biggest spread is. I mean, a couple of weeks, that's all I'm doing. I'm the connector. I'm slamming business for people.
Okay, so the takeaways I got from that, correct me if I'm wrong, is you would first find a need that needs to be found in the marketplace, whether it doesn't have to be just construction, but just a need in the market where there's some spread of income that can be made, and there's a big enough market there. And then you would network, and get work and clients. Get yourself that income.
Yeah, I'd find out what the problems were for each one of my clients. So the contractors are a client of mine. So what are their problems? It's usually staffing. They usually can't find the guys. So I'm looking for their guys. I'm looking for the guys who are not busy. They fucked up their business. They whatever. They're just slow or down. And I'm looking one to learn where they find their people. And then two, I'm looking to find out, the individuals who's paying what, like how are they getting taken care of, like who might be the not so good boss, who might be the better boss, and I'm providing coaching to the guys who take care of me the most, because the contractor is going to pay me for sending them business, and a person is going to pay me because I'm adding a little extra padding to whatever I'm charging from the contractor. So I'm getting the income from two different locations. So that business, yes, the demand is what I'm seeking. I'm seeking demand in a marketplace. The reason I went after the dirty jobs is because it's easy right now. It's easy, requires no licensing. Yes, do every one of these trades have a license? Of course they do, but I don't have to have it. I'm the businessman. I'm the owner. I'm the salesperson, right? I'm the connector. I'm the coach. I'm the influencer, but I don't have to have the license because I don't want to be the guy doing the job. I don't want to pull the permits. That's not my job. That's not where I want to be. But yes, you're right. That is what we do. Say I'm in the real estate space, right? I want to sell the picks and shovels of the real estate space. So I sell coaching because I have the experience to sell coaching. I've built the asset to do that. I sell software as a service because I've built the asset to do that. I also knew the demand. I was willing to make the investment into it. I sell live events, networking. I sell sponsorship to live events because I know that the sponsors need the business. They're not good at running live events, but they're willing to speak or stand in a room at a table with a logo out. And that's what they just want the list. They want the people who are in the room. I'm good at gathering and corralling by creating value. So they like just a couple of things. The lending, right? We're good at lending. Right? We have a lot of money. We have a lot of capital. So we take first position. We lend out on real estate deals because that's what everybody needs right now in a recession. Oh, I can't do a deal because I don't have the money. I got the money. Let's go do a deal. All right. Just pay me some points. Just pay me a percentage for bringing the money to the deal. I said $36 trillion of capital sitting out in the marketplace, fucking pissed off right now, just totally screaming mad that it wants to be in something other than the stock market, and it would rather be in real estate. So I'm solving the problems of the silver tsunami. They can't retire based on the return on investment they're not getting. So I put their money into real estate, right? That's what Alchemist Advantage was created. It's 12% cash on cash return. You put 100,000 in, you get $1,000 a month. You put $1 million in, you get $10,000 a month. Passive income. You don't got to think about it. I'm doing the work, right? So you just put, well, I'm not doing the work. My team's doing the work. Well, that's the point. I'm managing the 4 different assets, so you don't have to. And that's Tashin. Like, if you don't have a deal or an investment right now to put 3 million in, get them on a call with me. I'll pay you 4% for everything that they bring in. So they bring $1 million in, you're going to get 40 grand a year, right? They bring 2 million in, you're going to make 80 grand a year. They bring in the full 3 million, you're going to make 120,000 a year. They're going to make 30 grand a fucking month. So it's, it's a big deal for them. Go ahead, Thurman.
Oh, no, I was just asking if Matthew had any questions for you.
I'm loving this information. I already got like 2 pages of notes here to implement after this. Yeah.
God, man. Go ahead. So Matt, yeah, what questions or what things came up, or maybe shifts in your business? Let's go across with everybody. So if we were to recap, demand of the marketplace is necessary. Emotional, you want to inflict some sort of emotional response in order to identify. That's why they call it being polarizing. You just want to, hit something to identify, is this something that they want or not? And you got to be able to move on to the next person. Just keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. It's diagnostic selling and just tactically taking notes as you're going through, tracking what people are saying. Even if they didn't pay you, what was the reason they didn't pay you? You'll handle that objection, be able to handle that objection, be able to handle that objection. You're not handling objections to persuade them. You're handling objections to see if they're even telling you the truth. Right? Like, oh, well, I got to talk to my husband. Cool. Where's your husband? Let's go. Like, let's talk to him right now. What objection might they have? What thing? Why do we have to talk to them? Are they the decision maker in the family, or are you the decision maker? Can you make the decision without them? Why are we going to get them? Like, I want to understand so I can better serve you. Right? I'm handling objections because I genuinely just want to get to the solve the problem as quickly as possible. So that is sales in a nutshell. Get in front of the right client, and the sale becomes just asking questions. So go ahead, Matt.
Well, I mean, for me, I'm trying to kind of switch gears here because I was looking at, because the landscaping business was taking too much of my personal time and work, and it wasn't providing enough value for me to, make that money that I needed to live in this area. I was looking to just let that go. But then I've been trying to delegate out my clients to other people and, have some sort of like, okay, I'll keep a percentage. You guys can rent my tools, take my clients. Ooh. And, but I don't have enough people that I can trust yet. I liked your idea about going down to Home Depot and asking those questions, kind of doing the surveys, like collecting the information. That's a great idea, especially since it made me uncomfortable to think about doing it. So it's like, oh, I got to do it now. Like, that's going to be growth. So,
yep. Outside of the comfort zone, I would mention your pay structure. You probably are not charging enough for your services.
I definitely am not charging enough for my services.
So don't go up on current clients, but go up on future clients. You need the current clients. You keep them, but in order to pay your guys a decent salary or a decent wage, you've got to be able to make more in order to justify the cost of them. And so that's why you're going into this rental, you rent my tools. Like, that is a complex strategy for worker mindseted people, right? If you go after entrepreneurial people, you're not going to have staff very soon because they're just going to go and build the business, because this business doesn't require marketing. It's not a hard business to find clients. Why do they need you? Stability. They got families. You got to create stability for them. And that means charging enough to give them a decent wage. And that means you probably get paid way more. One of the rules on employees is you got to make about $250,000 per employee. If you can't make $250,000 per employee, increase your prices, increase the quality of your client, increase the amount of volume that your employee can produce in a day. If you're not making $250,000 an employee, then that's the low end. The tech companies want to see 500,000 per employee.
Mm. Right.
So even for yourself, it's like, okay, like something's inefficient if Matthew's not making $250,000 a year. There's some sort of inefficiency there.
Right. Yeah, I'm a little too generous with my services because I like to help people even if they don't have the money to, hire
Because
me for my services.
it goes back to what I said at the beginning of this call. You don't know your value.
Mm.
So it's about getting in front of the right client who has the demand, the desire, but also the money side your value will dictate whether they have the money or not.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't like nice guys. Nice guys, what it means is I don't value myself. I'm pretty much a piece of shit. Anybody can use me whenever I want, whenever they want. That's not cool. So you're what you would call a 10 on the giver scale, right? And like 10 being a super giver, 1 being a super taker, and 5 being a matcher, somebody who just matches somebody else. So what you want to become is an 8. You want to get down to 8 where you qualify who you serve. Nothing wrong. Like the richest people on the planet are givers. The poorest people on the planet are givers. The fuck is going on, right? It's because the givers who learn how to qualify become extremely successful. You can't just give willy-nilly anymore. You can't just be a nice guy. You've got to be a civilized man. Right?
Yeah, right.
There's
Absolutely.
something different between the nice guy is just the fool who anybody can, twist around. Oh, well, Matt's such a nice guy. He'll say yes. He's a nice guy. He'll do it for us for free, I bet. He's such a nice guy. And then there's the civilized man who they know when they go into that they're going to have to deliver value to you in order for you to deliver value to them. They
Yeah,
know
appreciate you saying that.
they know you can bring the game, right? They know you're capable. They know you do what you say you're going to do. You're trustworthy. You're talented. You're skilled. But they also know that you know your value. You're a civilized man in a civilized world, and they're going to have to pay you your worth.
Right.
And just
Yeah,
stop
part
paying
of that.
people who don't value you.
Yeah. Part of with my landscaping business, which kind of made me gear towards leaving it, was that I took on a lot of clients under a different mindset than I'm in now and moving towards. And so it was kind of like, wow, I agreed to a lot of things that just are not worth my time now, that I see I need to be prioritizing, high value, activity. And yeah, but I like what you were saying about how to scale that and not necessarily need to drop it, but just change my business model and, delegate more.
Change the business model, and then eventually once you have the confidence of the client, because you're going to find that there's one client out there who will pay you the same amount that all your current combined clients are paying you. Ask me how I know. I have a coaching program, right? I take on 2 people a year. I used to say 3, but I take on 2 people a year, and I charge $100,000 for that coaching program. And I also have programs that I charge $97 for. And that coaching program where I charge $200,000 for it, essentially from 2 people, pays the same amount that $97 program pays. But it takes running that $97 program to find the people who can afford the $100,000.
Got it.
But I don't do the $97 program. That's a mass group program. It takes 1 hour of my time a day. Whereas the one-on-one coaching, ironically, takes 1 hour of my time a week. Very interesting. 30 minutes for each client. The more I get paid, the less I have to do. Right? So think about that, Matt. Go on.
Well, I mean,
So my point is, you will have to fire some of your clients at some point. That will just be inevitable.
Yeah, I did
It's
let
not
go
all of them at once. Like that's what you're looking to do, is get rid of the business. Don't do that. Just let go of a few to make room for the next one.
Okay, got that. That's smart.
Awesome.
Yeah, what I'm really focused on also is trying to be more comfortable speaking, because I can see myself wanting that in the future. Like that's where I want to head, is to really help people in kind of a bigger way. Coaching people or helping people one-on-one, it's been great. I love the intimate connection, but it's like it takes so much time. And I feel like if I could have like a bigger audience, I could work with more people for like the general stuff, and then kind of specifically work with people one-on-one that want like to go deeper.
Yep.
So it's like that's where my heart and passion is wanting to do that, and then I need some system that's going to help fund that while that's building.
Correct. It's very much like what's his name? Tim Ferriss says in the 4 Hour Work Week. And I think it's becoming more popular. I'm hearing this more on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, but I will say it anyway. You don't have to be passionate about making the money, right? Go and build a machine that makes money so you can do something you're passionate about. I am absolutely passionate about helping people. I'm passionate about educating people. I'm passionate about serving others. I'm passionate about changing the world. Like there's some things I want to create in the world. Passionate about education, right? Helping people build businesses that have passive income. I'm passionate about having better sex. I'm passionate about being in better shape, right? I hit in the gym. I'm passionate about leg days now, something I didn't care about in the past. So like there are things that you are passionate about that just like my leg days and the amount of sex I have with my girlfriend has no impact on the world. Right? Nobody's gonna monetize it. I could, I suppose, go create an OnlyFans channel and maybe get like 10 subscribers. So I don't want to say, and then somebody's like, well, technically what you could do. But here's the point. Your passions are not what you'll make money from. You'll make money from what you're not passionate about, what you're very good at, what the world demands. And so serve the demand, not your personal desire. This is why artists are broke traditionally. It's because artists are selfish as fuck. They're internally focused. They're like, this is my art. This is what art is. Whereas the artists that I know that are rich are like, well, what would you like? And I will go create it. They work off of commission, right? They're commissioned to go and create something, and then they go get paid. Right? Commission, they're paid something up front because they're promising they're going to go build the thing the person wants. We're recognizing that people pay for what they want, not what they need, not what you created, not what you think is going to be special or good. So your coaching program, Matt, are you getting paid for it right now?
I am not.
They don't value. They don't see the value in it. It's nice, it's helpful, but they won't pay for it. So it's important first to sell it before you build or create it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's coaching is getting paid to hang with a friend. That's a very important thing to understand, right? If your friends won't pay you to hang with them, they're not friends, right? They don't see your value. They don't see the actual value in your relationship. And that's something that you have to cultivate. In order to become a valuable human being to hang with, enough people must know you and value you. That becomes a supply and demand thing. The value of your time now must be split among minds of other people. So that's why you see influencers. Why are people paying, Grant Cardone $1 million for his coaching program, his one-on-one coaching program? Well, it's because his time is so valuable, so split up that it's impossible to get him. So yes, of course, you have to pay him $1 million. Whereas Matthew will go and coach you for free because nobody knows who Matthew is. Right? Then I don't mean to pick on you. I'm just
no, I get it. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Is like I don't have enough presence, and so I just recently started trying to build an online presence. Started to provide kind of daily things and stuff for people to kind of get some attention.
So here's the other side to it. And this goes back to supply and demand and the emotion component. And this really advice is more for Thurbin, because Thurbin's in the coaching space. If you find something where there's a tremendous amount of emotion and tremendous loss involved, men will pay you quite a bit of money to solve their relationship issues, or the fact that they're in a sexless marriage, or that they're going through, or they potentially are considering a divorce. Like, the men in the world who are high income earners, earn $250,000, have a lot to lose, that will also pay to get their shit reorganized and put back together. So it's if you aren't known, but you're able to provide value in a conversation where you can provide some tremendous insight into the mind of a person who has those problems, then they will pay you to solve those problems at a deeper level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Darren, what about you, brother? Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. I mean, for me, right now, because I want to, I really just want to focus on just trying to get some clients for book writing services, as well as build my meetup, because I want to use the meetup to like raise capital for deals, as well as just have a bigger network of people. So I actually have I have a call later tonight at 8 for the meetup group as well.
Nice. I'll play with you a little bit. You said I'm trying to find clients for the book writing services. Go to where clients exist for book writing services. If you're trying to find them, then something isn't right. Something is wrong. It's either something that isn't a demand in the marketplace, or you're focused on something you're good at versus what the market wants, which is very artistic. And that's the creative in us. And the creative doesn't necessarily make money. The creative can make money when we're listening to a problem that our client has, our avatar. Then the creative is important because we can solve, we can create, we can, master something. But until we have the person and increased supply, I'll go real estate with you, right? I won't go to a market with 100,000, like a population less than 100,000 people, because it's not going to be inventory for me. There's just not going to be enough houses for me to buy once I start scaling. So, you got to find a market that first has a demand. Is there a demand for books? My guess is no, right? Like, that's something you have to go create a demand for, which means a long ascension funnel, which is a pain in the ass, right? I have a ghostwriting company because I have friends who are in the coaching space, and they kept saying, I need to write a book. I need to write a book. I need to write a book. So I was like, well, fuck it. Like, I got somebody who can write books for you. That business is a function of having a big funnel, right? It's like wholesaling, right? I wouldn't say start a ghostwriting service. I would say go and start something that finds people with a bunch of problems, and then start adding components on the back end to solve those problems. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think because I think what probably just the more I think about it, I think I should just kind of hone in on just a meetup group, just focus on building that, and
Yeah.
you because at least I can, because I've always been more of the connector, like as a
There's more
person.
money in the connecting anyway.
That's just been my strong suit. Like I just love connecting people, and I just know a lot of people. Like even with this mastermind group, like I have 7 millionaires I've booked like for each month up until July. I have a millionaire like for each month to do an hour call, and
Yep.
now I'm just like coordinating with the for the other 5 months, because the challenge I found with millionaires is just you all's time.
No kidding, huh? Because we know the value of our time. But we always make time for stuff like this. Yeah, whether it's 5 people on a call or 100 people on a call. If somebody says, we want to hear your story and we need your help, like millionaires, I mean, we're very good about it, I think. Even billionaires, like they're very good about it. As long as the more people you have, the more exciting it is for us when we jump into calls like this. But what's weird is we recognize the value of a human being, which is so interesting because the world thinks that we don't value people because we value money. So the world will think somebody who's rich like us will be like, oh, but relationships are more important. It's like, no fucking shit. How do you think we got here? Right? You're the one who's selfish as fuck, which is why you're broke as fuck. Right? I make money with everybody. All my friends are involved in my business. All the people I care about are involved in making money. That's why I'm rich. Right? So like we will do that, right? So you got the right business model. Here's what I'm gonna tell you, Thurman. Sell this. Sell more of the six-figure club. Don't sell anything else. Just charge what it's fucking worth. This is a $10,000 mastermind. You just don't have the balls to sell it for that yet because it's a belief system. But if you can make somebody 6 figures, that's a 10x return, right? 10x return. Even if they're making 50 grand and you get them to make 100,000, that's an extra 50,000. Like, was it worth the $10,000 to get there? Fuck yeah, it was. So that comes down to a trust factor in you on your product, right? Do you believe in yourself enough to commit to the men you're going to be committing to. And I would make it 6-figure men's program, right? Because right now I'm not seeing you bringing in women in here. And typically women are not concerned about making 6 figures because that's what their boobs are for. They go and they get a guy and the guy will go and do the work, right? Except in Brian's situation where he does have a hustler, right? But seriously, think about it. Most women, although they will not admit this, their strategy, their plan is to find the right guy. And if they're smart, that's what they would do, right? Because us, we're fucking addicted to women anyway. every one of us is like, well, that girl looks good. I gotta be nice so that I don't lose my girl. You know, I gotta do the right thing, so I keep her around, make sure she's happy. Because if I lost her, I'd lose everything. So, like, as men, like, we have to recognize that we see. Then the women don't feel that way. Very important. They don't feel that way. We're important. We're nice, but we're replaceable. We are a source of security. We're a source of safety, absolutely. But we're a source of emotional support. And after a long enough time with a woman, they do start feeling like we're a part of their life. And so they will. And really good women will support you. Will take you, like Tanisha. I'm thinking of Tanisha right now, Brian. She's an amazing woman, right? Like they'll support you while you're down. Like you're not making money, they'll support you. But that's not the point in a woman. The point in a woman, because at some point in your relationship, they're gonna pop out babies, right? You're not. You're not doing that. That's some bullshit, right? That's like the most fucked up thing on the goddamn planet. Like if something is coming out of you and for 9 months you're gonna build it. Like that's like they are like in every month you're gonna fucking bleed and like be emotional and go through cramps. Like they have been given this like the short stick of the draw, right? So it's our job as men to make sure their life's a little bit better. Guys, we catching this? You understand what I'm talking about. You if you lived with a woman, you know exactly what I mean. Like they go through some shit. Like their life just sucks in general. So the fact that they can be occasionally rosy and make our lives better, like we have to understand, like they're going through some shit all the time. Like there's always something going on. It's fucking their life up, their day up. And you see it. They cry every day. Like if you give them a chance, they will cry. Right? Like something will come into their world and they're be like, this is so bad, it's so frustrating. Whereas we're cool as a cucumber all day long. Like shit, like no big deal. Like whatever. You want me to solve that problem for you right now? Don't even think about it. It's done. 5 minutes later, it's gonna be fine. I bet you. Like we have that ability. So here's what I'm gonna tell you, Thurban. Make it a men's group about making 6 figures, and then just drive hard on letting them know like how important it is to make 6 figures. Don't be afraid to create content like I created 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Or I was like, you're not a man if you don't make 6 figures. Right? Pissed off a whole bunch of people. I lost, I want to say 44 followers. So fucking what, right? I gained 48 followers 3 weeks later. But what happened was I got an intensity behind the group. If you look at all my posts now, they're hitting over 100, 150, 200 likes because the group got a little more intense, right? The people behind me are now like, oh yeah, you know what? He has the same intensity we have. So I think that you could easily sell this because you're bringing in the millionaires every month, because you're dedicating, you're committing to these guys. I think you'd easily sell this for $10,000. And if you tie it in, like couple it with what Steven Bieber's got running, his 6-figure jumpstart, just pay him to do all the work, right? You pay him whatever monthly fee he's charging for that. I think it's
yeah, no, I spoke with them about it. I spoke with him and Amy. They want to go separate for right now. Because we are a little bit different in terms of structure. I know they're more hands-on with you. I'm a little more hands-off.
Yep.
And I'd probably say the strong suit with my calls in particular is I use this. I make social media content out of it.
Hell yeah.
To go.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. I will share. Tag me.
No, absolutely. But I'm gonna have a lot of clips to make with you.
The more polarizing, the better, Thurman. My goal is to piss off broke people so that they either wake up and do something or they fuck off. Like either one. Like I'm fine with either one of those results. If they don't want to grow, they don't want to change their lives. We don't need to deal with each other. But if they do, like I want them off the fence and recognizing they can do something.
Yeah. You got to start somewhere, right, Walter? I mean, how many people attended your first meetup?
Fucking 3, 5.
And what we got right here?
No, it was 3. It was 3 because it was me, Ron, and then 3 other guys. So it was 5 of us.
So let me ask you this, Gualter.
Yep.
How would you recommend, or let me rephrase that. What would you recommend that I do instead of how? So we're talking about action
Right.
steps instead of theories.
Get back
What
to insurance and raise capital. Get back to insurance and raise capital for my deals. And then once you've raised enough capital, go raise capital for your deals. My deals are guaranteed locked down all the time. So you don't have to go add that extra thought process. And because that's why you won't raise it $3 million. Because you're not sure how it works out, what to do, what to say, like, will this work? What do I do with the money? Like, and then you'll take all your attention off of your stream of income to go and make this real estate deal work. What you should be doing is help that person go put their money into my deal. You get paid, right? You get paid that 4% on every dollar that you bring in. And then, because by the way, first money is small money. Second money is big money. Second money is always bigger than first money. You know, first thing I invest with somebody is 50 grand. That's all I'm going to invest with you the first time. It's 50 grand. See how you do. All right. Bring my money back to me bigger. Bring it back to me faster, bigger. I'll throw $1 million behind you. If it's sexy enough. If I can see a 30% return, a 60% return, I'll go throw $1 million behind because I can get that money back fast. Right. Whereas if you're, going to go get me like 10, 12%, like, okay, I got money for that too. We have plenty of money sitting in 10, 12%, but that's allocated for, right? I rotate out the big money faster because it happens faster.
definitely makes sense. So as far as getting clients for insurance instead of just constantly paying for a lead that may not even actually be a lead, what would be a better source to bring clients to me that actually want what I have instead of me trying to beat down the phone and cold calling leads that don't even want the product that I have?
Yeah, run a networking event. Right, run a training event online, a virtual training event, run a live networking event, right? Run a real estate event or run a real estate event. Everybody owns real estate, needs insurance. Insure their house, insure their car, insure their life. So what are one of the signs that somebody's going to get insurance? They own fucking real estate. Come on, man. This game is easy.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense.
So all the same skills you learned as a wholesaler to find deals, you just apply them to something that people actually want. Right. I've said this to plenty of my wholesalers before. Like, dude, if you called differently and instead of saying, hey, I want to buy your house, instead you call and said, hey, what's broken in your house? I'm a handyman. I want to fix stuff. Who do you know who needs something fixed? Game over. Like, you won't get past call number 10 without making money.
No, that's definitely a fact.
Right. So it really does become more of a servant to the world and you'll make money. Bezos is the one that really talks a lot about servant leadership. I love the way he talks about it. He said, I'm obsessed with the client. I'm obsessed with the customer. 100% obsessed with what does the client want? What does the customer want? And then what does my staff need? What do they want? What do they need? Like, and he's like, just make sure everybody gets what they need. Everybody gets what they want. So get obsessed with servitude, like absolutely obsessed with serving others. But don't do what Matt did, being a nice guy. Like, make sure that there's money behind it, right? It's okay to serve broke people. Like, hospitals do it all the time, right? It's okay to serve broke people if they got access to insurance. If they got government money, totally fine. Just make sure that your client base has access to capital. If they don't have access to capital for and there's no form of financing for the thing you're doing, don't be doing it. That's crazy. That's insanity.
Walter, I got a book I got to share. That Thurman knows that as long as I've been in Thurman's program, he's really lit a fire into me when it comes to books.
Hell yeah.
And one of my favorite places to go, all right, I should say avoid, because I spend so much money there, is a place called bidrl.com. But they have an actual storefront. Every day you go in, the price drops dollar by dollar by dollar. Well, Friday, I happened to go in when it was $1 Friday. $1 Friday, I picked up a book that is worth way more than $1, and we probably cannot see it here. I mean, giving it all away.
Yep.
This book is written by the founder and the CEO of Hobby Lobby.
Oh, nice. Giving it all away and getting it back again.
And the thing is, like, the reason I bought it is because I saw it was written by the CEO of Hobby Lobby.
Yep.
And Hobby Lobby is by far one of the coolest craft stores I never thought I'd say I'd love as a guy.
Very cool, man. Let us know how the book is.
I will. And it was, a really good find in there. I didn't even tell you the second part of the story. Giving it all away and getting it all back again. That's the name of the book.
Very cool. I'm gonna wait until you've read it, until I know, until I go and pick it up myself.
And Brian, once you hit 50 books in a year, let me know so I can use you as a testimonial. So I can show my claims for my book are real.
Well, if you're doing a book tracker like Walter does his net worth tracker,
Yeah.
you can see that if my goal is to hit that 50 in a year, I'm already on track for that. Because I've been sending you my scorecard.
Yeah,
And as of last week, I believe last week was what, week 10. This is the end of week 11 of the year so far, and so far I'm 10 for 10. This week I'm behind. I have one book to catch up this week, but I always catch up. But then I found this one. This is my squirrel syndrome right here. Because every time I see a new book, I'm like, oh shit, I got to read that one.
hell yeah, man.
I will say, make sure that every book you read, you get some sort of action taken out of it. Don't read the next one until you've increased your income, if it's a money-making book, or you've increased or improved your relationship, if it's a relationship book, or if it's a health book, until you've implemented whatever you learned in that book. Don't read the next book until you've implemented what you took out of it. Because the knowledge addiction, this thing loves knowledge, right? And it'll consume without taking any action. So apply and move on.
That takes me back to the old movie Short Circuit. Input. Need more input.
100%. It's exactly like that. That is the nature of intelligence, right? AI or actual sentience, like, it just wants more information at all times. So awesome, gentlemen. Was this valuable?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Very cool. In that case,
Yeah, I appreciate your time a lot.
yeah, pleasure meeting you, Matt. Tasha,
Yeah, well,
Thurbin, always cool hanging out. Glad you guys are in the community, and glad seeing this program is growing and that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. Go earn that 6 figures. 6 figures is a baseline for changing your life. It's a baseline for becoming a millionaire. You need the 6 figures in order to get to the next level. And then I will say, if you want to get there faster, bring a few of your friends in, right? Make sure that they're good guys, and aim at people who can pay $5,000-$10,000 to be in this group. Just because you didn't pay that doesn't mean they shouldn't. Right? Go and sell this to somebody. Thurman, you pay a referral fee?
I do.
If they sell it for 10 grand, you pay them 2 grand?
I'd actually probably pay him more than that, but one thing I've been thinking about though is just selling it by the call.
Don't do that.
I don't know.
Yeah, no. That's a sure way to be broke. And it's sure to be ineffective, right? If you sell it by the call, then they're not going to come to every call because they're going to start seeing the pain of paying for the call. We sell for the year, and now they feel the pain of missing a call.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt when I discovered I was 30 minutes late.
See that? So make sure that they pay up front for the full service, because information is one of those weird things. We stop valuing it once we own it.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that they pay, and they have to get it. Otherwise, you're not doing them a service.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And if you have a affiliate link or something like that you want to do, I can definitely push it into some of the other networks, because like I said, I was a networking junkie. So I'm definitely in a lot of different networks. And when I mention it to people that there is, because I've mentioned to some people, being able to meet 12 millionaires in a year, plenty of people had said they would pay an unlimited amount of money to have access to spend an hour with 12 millionaires in a year.
Truth. That is your sales pitch right there. Right? Like, all day. In fact, I've been in a part of a mastermind where I got to hang out with 2 billionaires. And I don't know that there was even an amount of money that I could have paid for that would have justified what the value I got out of it. And each one of you will hear me talk about those billionaires that I've met, in fact, over and over and over and over, because I learned so much in just the few minutes that I spoke to them directly. It imprinted. I use it continuously. One was the owner of Little Giants Ladder, Little Giant Ladder, and the other one was Rami Abatrawi, who wrote the book "Can You Really Think and Grow Rich?" And now I can add to my list of billionaires Vinny Chopra, who hangs out with me every Thursday.